Welcome to another adventure in landlording, Pandemic Edition. This week, we're learning to survive without hardware stores. Now, in Ontario, we've been living under a stay-at-home order, and trying to get something from the hardware store goes something like this. You place an order online, wait ages, sometimes days, for an email to tell you that your item has finally arrived, and then you go and wait patiently in the hardware store's parking lot, only to have someone bring you out a toilet brush when you're actually hoping for a couple pieces of 4x8 plywood that you need to finish a project, but you've had to take out a second mortgage on your home in order to afford the wood because all of our supply chains are supposedly down, and this is of course a good enough excuse to gouge every single consumer under the sun and add to their stress and exasperation that we're all feeling because certain leaders have completely dropped the ball and made life impossible. Anywho, I digress. For this project, I decided to forego the hard-to-get-your-wares store and just make do with what I've had. So, because my world in Ontario has come to a grinding halt and it's nearly impossible to get the supplies that I need, it doesn't mean that people are going to stop kicking in the doors of my rental apartments. In fact, I'd argue that more crap is hitting the fan than ever at our rentals these days. Maybe this once-in-a-century pandemic and all the stress that goes along with it has something to do with it. So, that they say that there are 3 guarantees in life: death, taxes, and the doors of your rental property getting boot-effed. Now, this particular door that I'm working on today has already been involved in several altercations dating back many years. My last tenant treated the door nicely and painted it these interesting colors that you see. However, the guy before that lost his keys once and decided that instead of calling me to come over the 6 blocks I'd had to unlock the door, he'd kick the door's ass and show it who was boss. Most other door incidents involve a domestic dispute, a lot of screaming, maybe some property being withheld, a new boyfriend on the scene. You get the picture. Now, this particular door had never learned its lesson in the past because here it was, once again, involved in a dust-up. The police were, of course, involved, and although they never actually came out and blamed the door for inciting the violence, they did insinuate that a door that orange and that yellow could certainly send somebody over the edge. Anyway, the police let the door off with a warning. I, too, decided to give this troubled door one more chance, largely because I knew that brand new solid fire doors cost over $500 and installation often doubles that price. I also knew that if I were to put on a brand new shiny fire door on that apartment, I might as well paint a huge bullseye on it as well. So I decided to rehabilitate it and hope for the best. I ended up finding an old cabinet with a butcher block top, and I carved a piece out of the top. Fortunately, the butcher block was the exact same size width as the door. I also knew that the door wouldn't reject the butcher block because they were kindred spirits and they've both seen an equal amount of abuse over the years. So, after some extensive surgery involving many cuts, some screws, and a bunch of old glue that I found under my car suit, I was able to resurrect old Lazarus once again and put him back in harm's way for another probable tilt. Now, I guess the lesson that I'll leave you with is here. The hardware store is not always 100% necessary, and sometimes you have to reach down deep and find the love in your heart to give an old door a second chance, and a third, and a fourth, and so on. See you at the next adventure in landlording.